this meet is not going to be, in my opinion, not going to be dissimilar than other meets where our record purses we're hoping that those record purses drive horsemen to bring their best possible horses that they have to try and win one of the bigger purses, which means they're going to be typically graded 2 or 1, and so that will help us elevate all of our stakes. I mean, when I started here 11 years ago, we had 1 grade 3 and that was it, and now I think we have 9 graded races or 10 graded races, and we have 1 grade 1, and I'm wanting to get 18 graded races, and I want to try and get all of them to be a grade 1 at some point. So we're the feeder to the Breeders' Cup, not the other tracks.
And you made a push the last couple of years internationally. It seems like it's picked up from last year. You built a 22 stall isolation barn for the overseas horses coming in. Mm-hmm. Has the recruitment gone the way you've?
Yeah, but we really made a concerted effort to try and reach across the pond, as they say. I went to Royal Ascot and personally was trying to recruit people there, trainers, and get them interested. They guarantee you they did not know what Kentucky Downs was 5 years ago, but after Bellum Justum had won and Ancient Rome has won, it picks up people's heads, and we're going to see, I don't know if we're going to see more horses, probably about the same, 10 or 12 horses are going to come over, but I think they're going to be a better quality horse, and they're going to probably step up and surprise some people here.
You're going to have Wimbledon Hawkeye coming from Britain for the Nashville Derby. Mm-hmm. And trainer James Owen is somebody who got past the psychological thing that he doesn't run for 3.5 million, but as he points out, where are you going to run for 2 million, which is what the non-Kentucky breds run for. That seems like a psychological hurdle for some people, but the base purses, there's 11 races worth at least 2 million with KTDF, and their base purse is at least $1 million for all of them. Yeah. Where else are you going to run for that kind of money?
Nowhere, obviously, and that was kind of the discussions that we had with trainers when we were in Europe. Is like, yeah, you're running for $60,000, and you can come by us and run for $1 million or $2 million. It's, and if anybody's going to have an advantage running their horse on a course like ours, it's going to be the Euros. So you would think it should be a layup, but there's always those folks that are going to be hesitant until their best friend wins a race and they're like, oh my God, my horse is better than that horse.
It's kind of like when the Americans first started going to Royal Ascot. It was just a couple, but then it's every year there's several that go.
Yeah, over. I think Wesley kind of like broke that mold, because there were guys that took shots there and they weren't successful every now and then, but then he went and was very, very successful. So he's kind of forged that, and so now you got George Weaver and others that are going there and winning. So it's the same thing. I think they're going to come here and they'll eventually start to win here, and whether they're looking to sell their horse and leave them here in the States, or they're looking for bigger and better things like at the Breeders' Cup. So they're both good. I mean, the KTDF has really been a big driver in all this, in that the purses are elevated to the point where if you don't have a Kentucky bred and you are in the States, you really need to be scratching your head. And the same thing goes for where you race. Is it smart to be racing a maiden in Southern California for $60,000 when they can run for $170 here? And the cost of living there is more than double than it is here in Kentucky. The workers' comp is, extremely large there compared to here. So it makes all the sense, and we're seeing more and more guys, more and more trainers coming to Kentucky and planting themselves here. If not their whole barn, they're planting a sizable portion of their barn.
So what will be new for the 2025 meet? Is there anything as far as seating venues? the broadcast, the video presentation?
I think that's the biggest thing for us this year. We've done some other improvements, like we put in a brand new irrigation system into the turf course, which hadn't been done since this place was constructed in 1990. But that's going to be a big difference for us on our end, is that we can really nurture this course straight along. But the production, the TV production, has been the biggest focus that I think we've focused on, is to try and improve what the guests will see on TV, because the majority of the people don't come on property. You know, we're not Keeneland or Churchill. We don't have a big grandstand, so the majority of the folks bet on our races. They're betting them, you know, from home, or they're betting them from an OTB, and those folks will see a dramatic difference. We're going to have a drone that will follow the horses. We will have a cable cam that's going to run from the top of the stretch all the way past the wire. We've added a couple other cameras. I have a camera in the cornfields. We've just improved that. Plus, we have Brittany Urton and Nick Luck joining Caton, who's you know, our mainstay superstar. And then we're bringing in Jessica Stafford from England, who has worked for FanDuel and does a great job. So between the four of them, they're really going to cover our racing. We've got Michael Rona coming in to replace Larry. Unfortunately, my friend Larry, you know, to our detriment, but to his success, is replacing Trevor at Del Mar. And so we'll miss Larry, but you know, we don't miss a step because we've got Michael Rona to step in. So we're all good.
From one iconic announcer to another, and back, because Michael Rona was here before Larry.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
back.
and back again. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Hold
on one second. Go ahead.
Way to go, Ted! Woo!
And you got NBC, not one of these cable things. You've got the mothership, the flagship NBC coming the first Saturday.
Yep.
For a 2-hour, 3 to 5 Central broadcast here live. 3 stakes will be on it.
Yeah, we kind of feel like that was a big feather in the cap to get, you know, what do they call it, the terrestrial NBC, so you're not on CNBC or USA or one of their other networks, but we're on the big one for that weekend, Labor Day weekend. It's going to be strong, and we're hoping that we can actually do it again next year, and maybe even add a second weekend with NBC as well. So we're always trying to improve, and we think that'll, you know, be a big score to have NBC here covering that big day, especially the $3.5 million Nashville Derby.
And that was a big push this year, was making that first Saturday, trying to get it on par with that second Saturday that's been the flagship marquee card for the meet.
Yeah, you're 100% right. The plan was that, you know, we know we have a really solid day the second weekend. That day has been growing, and you know, we can handle $22-23 million on that day, and so we kind of felt like we didn't tap out, but we just kind of felt like, let's promote and push this first Saturday. We know we're going up against Saratoga, we know we're going up against Del Mar, but we feel like if we give the product a boost, we can really elevate our game. So being on NBC, having 5 big stakes races that day, we've made the batter. Now we just got to have the cake rise. So that's where we're at.
This meet, trying to be something for everyone in some regards. There's a lot of different audiences that you try to cater to.
Yeah, and that's not an easy thing to do. But we always try to cater to the horsemen, because they are the number one reason why we're here. You know, it's the horsemen that do it, whether it's the jocks, trainers, or the owner of the horse. We cater to them as much as we possibly can, and it's to the point where, you know, even the people that are just coming for the day and they have a maiden race, we're going to cater to that person. The general public has their space that they take up half of the stretch, and it's free to get in, and they can enjoy the races like, you know, they're sitting in their backyard. But then in the folks that are like true horse players and or fans, they have the ability to go to the pavilion, be sitting there right on the wire in the open air. We also sell tickets inside the chalet, which is air conditioned. It's a beautiful space. We've done weddings in there. It's a great spot, and that's where you just try and hit everybody.
You also have, for the second year, I believe, a new reserved ticketed area, the stretch run.
Yeah, we were trying to find a spot that's in between the high-end space in the chalet or the pavilion and free, being in the GA. So we created this space. It's, you know, inside the 8th pole. It's called the Stretch Run. We have a big screen TV under there. You're literally right next to the swimming pool. I guess if you wanted to jump in, but it's a great spot, very casual. We typically will bring in food trucks, but it's a really good spot. If you want to be close to the action, but you don't want to pay to be in the high level area.
So you got a 14-stall starting gate there, and how's it going to be implemented? Not every race.
Yeah, no, we have to be really cognizant of, you know, being too tight to a turn. So the sprint races will not have, we won't use the 14 stall, because then you immediately go down a hill, and, you know, we're really trying to be cognizant of safety. The races that are longer, the stakes especially, those are the ones that we're gonna, you know, the mile and a half, those will be 14, and we're hoping that the mile and 5/16 races can also, because that starts right at the wire, that we can use the 14, and we're still talking with the stewards about the possibility of being able to do that.
Yes, the big benefit going from 12 to 14 is, you have told me before, it's not that much more incremental in betting, but what it does is it allows 2 more Kentucky horsemen the opportunity to run.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we were hoping, that we could get that approval from the stewards for the maiden races, because there's so many guys that really want to get in, and it just allows two more trainers to get their horses in. And even some of the allowance races, I mean, you know, we'll have 30 to 35 horses enter in a race, and only 12 are getting in currently. I'd love to be able to get at least 2 more in. So yeah, it's not handle. It's a very small amount that's different between a 12 and a 14 horse field. There's a big difference between an 8 and a 12 horse field, obviously, but not that much from a 12 to 14.
You started here first as a consultant in 2015 and then became the general manager of Kentucky Downs in 2016. Even through 2018, you see an aerial drone shot, and you had the original building, the original dueling grounds building, and then you had this little open air pavilion, the finish line pavilion, and nothing in between. Now you see that same aerial, and it's just project after project, most recently the sports book.
Yeah, the vision of Ron Winchell and Marc Falcone really kind of shows out right now, in that not only did they take what they bought, they just had a massive vision to build a hotel where we built the hotel, extending the HHR location and space, and then ultimately now building a sports book right here at the quarter pole. It just continues to show how their brains work. Their planning is amazing, and now we're going to open this week with like one of the nicest sports books I've ever walked into. So it's going to be great. We're really looking forward to the meet and watching the reactions of people when they walk through the place now.